Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you. And I'm gonna start this video off by just saying, guys, thank you. We just became part of the 3K club, you know, just reaching 3,000 subscribers on the channel within the first year of starting this up. I cannot say thank you enough, and just for real, like, all the kind comments you guys leave, it means a lot. And yeah, I'm super excited about uploading a lot of these matches, and I'm glad that they help out anybody. And looks like it's helping out my man Tommy over here, because he's playing Rebecca and just picked up Bartolomeo off that first search. Tommy is one of the first people I met playing One Piece, and just super glad to have made friends with him over this past year. And I will say though that I do have like a slight recent hatred of him though, because this man has drawn 2 manga sabos, and I just want to cry a little bit because I want that card so bad. It looks so cool. But I'm honestly really happy for him. I'm just like jealous. And yeah, but we'll see the Rebecca picking up the Leo, as well as another Rebecca picking up the Sabo. And now he'll just go ahead and pass it over. I will just swing 5 into life. He does take this first life. I thought I would get a counter right there, but we do just see the first one being taken. A little surprised, but we take the Nami search, picking up Guild as well. And I tell you what, this is a matchup that I didn't have a ton of experience in. I played a little bit on the simulator against some people, but this matchup in particular is rough. It is rough. Yeah, he's going to do -4 on Nami, and then we're going to see that Leo coming down. But look at that. Trashes the manga Sabo, unfortunately. That's a beauty, though. That is a beauty. He's got it running in the deck. But Nami did get the search off. She got some value for us. Unfortunately, is just going to die pretty quick. I feel like this matchup is very favored in Rebecca's, you know, in Rebecca, or it's favored for Rebecca. But there are chances, and there are things that can be done for Doflamingo. I do end up playing the queen here, subtracting the 1, drawing into 2, and now I really have to do a lot in order to capitalize on this matchup, but it is very, very difficult. See, Orlumbus right now can just -4 to my queen, KO, you know, one of his Rebeccas or Leos or something like that, and then just play Kyros. You know, Kyros comes down, we're not looking good. But we're gonna see a Rebecca for 1. Looks at that top 3, picks up the Gyats for the 2K counter, and now we will see, I think, 4 coming down, or 4 Dawn being rested. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it looks like we'll see a 3,000 Worlds bottom decking that queen, unfortunately. I was expecting like another Leo or something like that, or maybe a Kyros, but it doesn't look like he's seen one just yet. So I'm alright with this. Not seeing the cards that allows him to swing pretty heavily into me is, in my opinion, a plus. I'm very happy about that. Now we do pick up a Sugar, which is great, but I feel as though I don't respect the Orlumbus enough. I don't respect it just yet, and I'm going to learn very soon that I need to. That Orlumbus has to die, and I didn't really consider it that much, how much of a pain it is against my list. And we do see the Orlumbus coming down, bringing the Uta down to 0. And now he did trash another 3,000 Worlds, which I'm pretty happy about, but there goes the Kyros Altar. You love to see it. Uta does get KO'd there, and then Red Rock to bottom deck the 7-drop Luffy. It feels as though we have not created any sort of board whatsoever, but luckily for us, putting down these cards actually does more than often not like end up giving us some form of value. So I'll swing 7 into the Orlumbus. I feel like it was a little light. He does just counter out of this, but we get him down to 2 cards in hand. That is a key factor in my opinion for this matchup. I choose to go 5 for Guild here, and then I'll just reactivate 2, and yeah. And I was trying to keep track of what he had in Trash, because this is a matchup that is, it's, you know, Once you get to that late game stage where Rebecca's down on deck size but higher up on trash size, it does become a match where you have to pay attention a lot to what they have in their deck, or excuse me, what they have in their trash, because they're going to be putting that back into their deck via 7-cost Luffy and all that good stuff. Now, I do rest the Sugar here, and I totally make a mistake. I rest the Kyros, thinking that, okay, this is the play. Rest the Kyros. That way, I don't have to deal with the swing coming at life here or at Sugar, but rather instead, I should have done Orlumbus. I'm not really sure what my thought process was here. You know, like I was thinking like, I can defend Sugar pretty easily if I wanted to use some event cards to rest his other blockers or rest Orlumbus. I don't end up doing that though, and it was a bit of a shame, bit of a misplay on my part. But 7-cost Luffy comes down. I was thinking that I might see like a swing into Guild here, but I believe he just passes it over. Yeah, so just leaving the Luffy active does kind of scare me a little bit because I know that he picked up that King Kong gun. But we are up to 10 Dawn, which is really nice. It would be good to get one of those bigger cards down. So like there is, you know, the opportunity of playing 10-cost Doflamingo here. It doesn't feel like I get a great amount of value out of it, but we are just going to do it anyways. Freezing up that Kyros, and I'll use Guild to swing 6 to life, getting 2 card draw, and reactivating the 2. I just wanted to get a body on the board though that he does have to deal with. I know that he's used a lot of his removal already, so that's in the deck. So but he does end up I feel like he ended up getting all the cards at the right time. It felt so bad. I was like, no, can't even search these cards. Stop. But there goes, unfortunately, my 10-cost Doffy right there. And I know that he's used a lot of his removal, though. So now, oh, and especially after he just bottom decked another 3,000 Worlds and another Red Rock. That makes me feel comfortable that I do have the opportunity to go for another 10-cost the turn after. Because just having a big body on this board, if I can get rid of Orlumbus, it feels like a totally different matchup. It really does. Just knowing that removal is gone, getting rid of Orlumbus, it feels very, very special. But Guild, unfortunately, is going to be taken down here. I would have loved to counter out of that, but sadly could not. And then I did ask him if I could potentially just take a look over, you know, whatever he's adding back to his deck, just because now I can know like kind of an order. And so I take a look at how many cards he's got in his deck right now, which is 10. That means that more than likely 3 turns from now, he's going to be drawing into what we're seeing. And it could be even less than that, but 3 turns from now, guaranteed, he's going to be drawing into that after using leader ability and stuff like that. So he does show me what he's shuffling back in. I don't see a lot of removal, which makes me happy. I'm looking at it thinking to myself, okay, so if I can chain a few 10s, 10-drop Doflamingos and get those down, I do feel really good. And we do top deck into another one. So now we do have 2 in our hand at the moment. And I'm feeling not too bad about it. Would have loved to have Guild still left, but I just wanted to take a peek yet again at what he's got in life. What are his options to be able to remove some of my cards? And it looks as though the vast majority of it is going to come down to whether he has that Truno Bastardo card or not. And I'll just go 10 drop yet again, freezing up that Kyros. Don't want to give him too many swings, especially with King Kong gun being a real thing. But look at that, he top decks the Truno Bastard. And we were both laughing at it. I was like, oh my god, come on, man. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is. And there he goes. Yep, there he goes. Yep, and I almost bottom decked it because I was so used to getting red rocked or whatever. But Doffy is getting KO'd right there. It's you know, it's the answer that Rebecca will have, is that removal. And I'm really kind of like punching myself for not having swung at the Orlumbus, or excuse me, rested the Orlumbus with Sugar. that one turn. So I feel as though that was a huge mistake on my part. But I do counter out of this 5k swing just because I know that I have to expect some King Kong gun action coming in the near future. Now we do see, I believe this is a 7k swing with Rebecca too. It makes me feel as though his hand is pretty dead. It's got to be like a few counter cards. And yeah, I will just go ahead and use Thunder Bagua just to get out of that swing. He does restand the Luffy. Now you'll see that he's adding a lot of that removal back into, you know, he plans on adding a lot of that removal back. The Orlumbus, you know, the Red Rock, the Truno. I like to call it the Black Jet Pistol because it's basically it's basically the Jet Pistol if you want it to be, and arguably better, to be fair. And yeah, he's just adding some of those back though. I don't care, like, because when he shows me the cards, you know, he can change up the order in which he adds them back. I would just like to know which cards he's adding back. And yep, so now I know that there's a little bit of that lowering cost as well as some removal cards. Not as many as I was expecting, but still some. Can't really complain. I will go 5 into the Orlumbus, and he lets it go. I could cry right now. I'm so happy. And so I do play the third 10-drop Doflamingo. It's menacing, having that over and over again. Thank God for Guild allowing us to draw into the second one and then top decking the third. So, you know, we both had a little bit of our own luck, and just got to take it where you can get it, you know? I will have the Rebecca as well as the Kyros frozen up though, which is really nice. And he does trash a couple of counter cards, so it was a Sabo and a Gyatz. But putting down the Sabo himself is going to leave a lot of his board, you know, unable to be KO'd by some effects. We'll see the King Kong gun coming down, so that's a 13k swing. We might potentially see, it'll be 14,000. I think he's going into Doflamingo. I can't remember. No, actually, it's going to be 14,000 into life, and we are just going to take that, and he'll restand. I was surprised that he didn't go into Doflamingo and then maybe into life, but, or potentially just 2 swings into Doflamingo as a whole. But I think we got out of, we dodged a bullet there a little bit. But he's trying to get me into that KO range, and knowing that I have some of that counter power in hand, still getting me down to 1 life without having any blockers down can be a little very scary. And he will just restand and then swing 14 again into life, I believe. And I'm just like, you know what? There's no point in countering out of this, more or less. We just kind of have to take it and just hope for the best that we can build a board and start going for some stuff. But I will swing 5 into life. He does take this one. I have some pretty decent options in hand. We also have a lot of events. I think that, you know, potentially seeing a maybe like blocker Luffy into Uta, and then just saving the remaining Dawn for some of those events in hand could be an option. We also might see Queen or something to draw into more. But I am just going to go Doflamingo into the Luffy, and we do get the pick off here. I was deciding whether I wanted to go Life or Luffy, and it worked out pretty well. So now we have the 2 Utas coming down, and I will just go ahead and reactivate the 2 Dawn. It feels as though his deck or his hand has to be pretty event heavy if he wasn't countering out of some of these, because I knew that he picked up some cards, but Truno is going to take out the Uta here. Uta is not going to be able to get that value on, you know, taking out Sabo, you know, resting Sabo or resting Kyros. It's such a good chain card into another 10-drop if we did have the option. I don't think we have another one in hand at the moment, but overall, this has been a back and forth battle, you know, to try and maintain some form of board control as well as removal of, you know, some of my opponents and some of my own cards from his standpoint. And I think that we're coming down to the end here, though. Rebecca and Gyatz getting trashed. It makes me think, like, okay, what do you have in hand at this time? Like, do you have a lot of counter power, or do you just have like crazy good event cards to try and go for the game, but maybe you're being a little greedy? So it's definitely a weird I don't know. I'm in like a weird headspace trying to think of what is my best move here now. Obviously, he didn't swing with anything in fear of potentially seeing another 10-drop Doflamingo. He wants to go for the game the turn after, knowing that I only have Uta at the moment, but we're going to be going for some plays here. I'm going to go 10 with the Doflamingo. He does take, I believe this is his second to last life. Yeah, so one more life remaining. But I love this play. We're going to go queen here, subtract one of the Dawn, draw 2, and trash 1. We've got so many events in hand, and I'm really actually quite happy about that. As much as that doesn't sound great, I just trashed the Nami, and I'm going to have these events passing it over with 6 Dawn active. It gives me a ton of options. I think that swinging with Uta before swinging with 10-drop Doffy could have been an option as well. Maybe rest one of the Sabos, but I think we decided not to. I don't think it's like the worst idea that we didn't, but I you know, that way we can still potentially use it for a block and resting one of the Sabos. But I really kind of just wanted to whittle down a lot of what he has going on. But we do see the King Kong gun coming down onto the 7-drop Luffy. We're going to see more than likely a swing into the Uta, but he does swing into Queen first. And now I will gladly just block with Uta, resting one of the Sabos. This is actually pretty massive for me. I'm considering whether I want to save the card as well, because I pretty easily could if I wanted to, and I think I decide to. So I punk Gibson the Kyros to start it off. You know, this first attack can be like a ripple effect of him not being able to perform the rest of his turn, and I kind of wanted to take advantage of that as much as possible. And we are just going to use Spider's Web here, restanding the Uta. That brings me up to 13k, and then we can just counter out with 1k. And we just got out of a 13,000 power attack on that 5k Uta. But good God, did we do some work. We got some value out of that. I restand the Uta for one reason particularly. I want to rest that other Sabo as well. I really want to, but he is smart. He does not attack into it, but we have plenty of swings this turn. He's only got 2 cards in hand and 1 life. We should have more than enough to try and go for game, right? I guess there's arguably best ways to do this, considering that some of those cards, like Truno Bastardo and stuff like that, do perform actions as well as Red Rock, but I think I realize I don't think it's relevant. We're just going to swing at it. We'll go 9,000, and then we will just go 9,000 as well with Uta, and he has enough to get to 9. And what a game, man. What a game. I always love my matches up against Tommy, and yeah, this was fantastic. I think that for being in a position that this list is usually pretty bad into Rebecca, I think that we had some moments that we capitalized on his mistakes, but also just really good card draw, and being able to search out the cards we need, play patient, and eventually go for it, slowly whittling it down. But let me know your thoughts, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one. All right, peace.